All right, guys, it's time to discuss defense in the current state of NHL 19, and that's what we're going to go over today. All of the defensive tips that I now use, and I think that you guys should use to help improve your game this current state. So, I'm No Sleeves 12, and this is how to suck less at defense in NHL 19.
Critical face-off win at that point.
So just to recap, guys, if you haven't seen my settings and strategies update video for January, here is what I currently suggest to use at the start of the game. And then I'm going to get into why I think adjusting mid-game is extremely important in the current state of NHL. So here's what I use to open almost all games right now in NHL 19. You're going to notice that it's extremely passive, and there is a reason for it. You need to feel out how your opponent plays, and the safest way to at least survive that feeling out period is to play passive. And what you need to do with that is play extremely patient. You don't give up odd man rushes. You make sure that you have 4 guys at the blue line, so you deny zone entry really well, and then you attack on the rush. Now, once the game goes on, there are adjustments that need to be made depending on if your opponent is scoring the same goals over and over again, you're letting up the same chances, then things need to adjust. And I'm going to show you today in today's video how to adjust and what strategies and settings you want to change depending on how each player is playing against you. First thing I think we need to discuss is acknowledging what is actually a threat in the offensive zone. Let's take this clip right here. There is 2 options this guy has, and you can read them almost instantaneously. One is curl into the slot, which I'm already defending, and the second is to go to the point, which is a harmless shot because he can't really do a one-timer or anything like that. Now, the second he goes to the point, again, notice what the options are. Something you want to get in the habit of doing is when a guy gets the puck at the point, you want to be looking for his options before he even gets it. Obviously, he's going to go to the point here. Now look across to his D partner. It is not a one-timer situation. You can almost ignore that player. So this is when you want to attack because, again, you know that even if he does send it to you, you're not in any threat or any trouble of getting scored on. Next thing you want to pay attention to is how does he enter the zone? Does he continually try to keep the puck with the guy entering the zone, which is not always a good thing? Does he deke into the zone? Does he try and straight line? Those are things that you want to acknowledge and notice early on because come the third period when you're trying to catch up or hold the lead, you better be damn sure that that is what he is going to try because that is what he is most familiar with. These are all little things that you want to take advantage of and notice early on. Very few average or even above average players adjust the things like how they enter the zone. Those are little things that you can take advantage of. I think we really need to discuss how to defend the short side wrister, so let's start with a prelude to that. When they enter the zone, if they are on their offhand, meaning they are coming down the left side of the ice with a right-handed shot, meaning that they can curl into the middle and do a short side wrister, you need to be aware that at some point they are going to do that. So that makes defending it a lot easier. What a lot of people end up doing, though, is they get kind of stuck watching the puck or overthinking and watching for a cross-crease one-timer or a one-timer of any kind instead of actually defending and knowing that he's going to circle into the middle. And I think that that's something that definitely needs to be watched for because, again, if he comes in on his correct hand, it's going to be a pass almost every single time. First, let's discuss the short side wrister off the rush. This is one of the more common ones, okay? And where I see a ton of people making their mistakes is that they think that once they are on level with the player that's going to cut in, you see him skating into the middle, you instantly start thinking going left to right. Now, think about that in the sense that you're essentially going to try and meet him with either an R1 or your body at a perfect moment going left and right. What you actually want to do is once you're online, watch your post down low. You never want to go further than your post. So think once you start or in line with your post, you want to go up and down as opposed to left and right because once you start crisscrossing left and right, all you got to do is hold it, and once you've gone too far to the right or too far to the left, it's wide open for a goal. It's the same thing on a rush. When they start streaking down the boards, what you want to do is instead of attacking them because they could burn you on the inside or just straight line you around the boards, what you want to do is just keep staying left or up and down as opposed to left and right because, again, it's a lot easier when you go left and right. That's how you get caught and leaves you a clear path right into the middle, and it's a little hard to not do and get used to, but once you start going just up and down when defending the short side wrister, same thing when they're trying to curl out into the slot. Instead of attacking them left and right, you want to find where they're going to curl in because you obviously know where the short side wrister is going to go in from, or where the high probability of it is, up and down. That way it'll force them to look elsewhere, and then your AI will eventually bump them or pressure them enough, or they'll turn the puck over and you can carry on. The other thing I want to tackle, in prior games prior to this current state of NHL, what I would always recommend is, if you let your AI attack and you want to play your defenseman, play the far side one. So that'd be the one that's away from the play. Basically, you're covering the one-timer. What I've found now in this one is that the human control players just do not intercept pucks at all, at least in my experience of it. And I just let the AI defend the far side guy. So I'm not saying don't play your defenseman. What I would recommend is, if you're going to attack a player along the board down low, I would actually attack the player with the puck and let your AI cover the guy that's covering in front of the net. Unless you're getting burned consistently on it, you might want to switch. I mean, the collapsing and protect net strategies are what you'd want to switch to if it's getting real bad, because then at least there's always players clogging the slot. But for whatever reason, I cannot intercept the pass manually when I'm trying to cover the weak side one-timer in the slot. Maybe it's just myself, but it's something that I notice a lot of players. And when I notice them instead playing the pass instead of playing the guy that's actually attacking me in the corner, I'll always try and force a pass through, because for whatever reason it just seems to go in now. Lastly, what I want to discuss is, this is going to take some practice and adjustment. So I say when I start the game, you want to switch all to passive. Just like that's the best way to start, in my opinion, because you want to feel the player out. You don't want to give up a ton of scoring chances. But what you do want to start doing is practicing aggressiveness in the neutral zone. Okay, so forever, the 1-4 has been the main meta that everyone uses, because it clogs the blue line. Now, technically, that's true. Now, when I spoke with a developer who actually plays the game quite consistently and is actually pretty highly rated, ranked in the versus leaderboards, he talked about how he finds it odd that everyone uses the 1-4, because eventually, while it does clog the blue line, eventually if you go back and forth east and west enough, you'll get someone who gets speed, and you can go in and break it, or you can just slap shot around the boards to break it. And he said what he finds to be the most effective to deny zone entry is the 1-2-2 red. And the funny thing is when I noticed Gren and Padre when I went to the Leafs game while I was watching the play, I noticed that they attack the puck carrier a lot. And then when I'm watching the other high-end players, I noticed that it's a lot less just back skating and trying to do the actual check at the blue line, much like trying to deny the short side wrister left and right. When you're doing it at the blue line, you're trying to meet it so like the poke-check or the hit happens at the blue line, but sometimes they can just hold up, stop you, and you make the first move, and it's just an easy walk right by. With the 1-2-2 red, what you do is you switch to the player close enough, and the reason why this is effective is because the AI no longer actually attacks the puck carrier. They'll attack in the sense that they'll get close to it, but because they tried to counter the skill zone, they don't attack the puck itself, because that they turned it down so that there's no penalties. Basically, the AI doesn't take penalties, and that's why you notice the only way the actual AI gets the puck back is incidental bumps. It is really the only way they actually get it back. So if you let the AI attack on the rush, they're basically not going to get the puck very often, because, again, they just don't attack the puck. So what you do, and what I've done these previous games, is with the 1-2-2 red, you switch to the closest player with the puck, and you attack the puck with your R1. You never get behind. The second you get behind, you switch to another player. And then when they pass it off, so say they're on a 3-on-2, you switch players to the closest guy that is to the puck. So if they pass, you also switch to the closest guy, and you try and get on them as soon as possible with the R1. The second that that they've passed, don't take the same guy you were controlling and pull him towards it, because then that is how you get 2-on-1s, but instead switch to the next player close enough and attack with R1. And it's something that I found recently. I played the best defense I've played. The one thing I will say is that for players that aren't very good or aren't great at reading the play, aggressiveness is how you give up a ton of goals. So I would recommend getting better with the passive strats first and recognizing the play, and then once you do that, you can stop getting burned so much because you understand the play and where players are looking to go, and then you can attack with the 1-2-2 red. Honestly, that's the only thing I've changed, is just the neutral zone, and it's made a gigantic difference in my neutral zone, the gap control, which then in turn increases your time on attack, because if someone is a very, very good offensive player that holds onto the puck and you struggle getting it back, and those are usually the ones that are really good at the short side wrister, you deny zone entry, they don't get any time on attack. So guys, that does it for my January defense video. Let me know in the comments section down below if you like the video, if it's helping, if you think I left something out or something that you do and you find successful as well. I always like to see the feedback from you guys. So again, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you like it, and be sure to watch for my podcast Monday to Friday. I release it on YouTube as well as on SoundCloud. Follow me on Twitter so you know exactly when it's at No Sleeves Gaming. Monday I have a big one, and I will see you guys then. Have a good one.